All right, welcome back to the Hill. A critical swing state primary is on the horizon, the state of Michigan. But fresh polling from the battleground state says that President Biden still has his work cut out for him. So how bad might it be? Stirewalt is here to break it all down. Chris.
Oh, gosh. It frightens me every time, Blake. Every time they run, they run the animation, I'm alarmed by my giant face. Michigan, shaped like a hand. So this is talk to the hand. Okay, let's look at a new general election poll from Michigan conducted for our Nexstar family members at WLNS in Lansing, Michigan. It reveals big trouble for President Biden in his looming rematch with former President Donald Trump. That's 45% for Donald Trump, 41% for President Biden, with 14%, it's a lot undecided. Now, here are some polls for recent comparison, and you'll see right here that it's in line with what's going on. This is not an outlier. You can see that all the polls this year point in the same direction. So what's driving the Democratic doldrums? We know the answer is the same as in lots of other swing states where Biden is struggling. His age, inflation, immigration, and crime chief among them. But Michigan has an extra problem for the incumbent. 53% of all Michiganians support a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Now, that maybe isn't that shocking, but look at this. That includes 74% of Democrats and 64% of independents. And then look at this. Among ceasefire supporters, 57% back Biden, 27% back Trump, and 15% are undecided. So what? Biden is winning among the anti-war set, but not by nearly enough. That group is overwhelmingly Democratic and left of center. These folks are supposed to be his base. He needs to win 80% or so of them, not 57%. Part of what makes Michigan different is its unusual demographics. Muslims and Arab Americans don't constitute a significant voting bloc nationally. We don't have perfect numbers, but only about 1% of the country as a whole identified as being of Middle Eastern and North African descent in the most recent census. But a huge part of that population, of some 3.5 million people, is in Michigan. Maybe as many as 250,000, and most of them are in the Detroit metro area. Estimates vary, but polls suggest that Biden won almost 3/4 of the Arab or Muslim, I know, not the same thing, that group in 2020. So how's it going now? So, not super, I guess is what I would say. Maybe not super. There aren't enough Arab voters in Michigan to doom Biden on their own, but combined with the significant population of young progressives in Metro Detroit and the college towns of East Lansing and Ann Arbor, it's a big problem for Democrats, even if they just stay home. The blue team won Michigan in 2020 by 154,181 votes. Republicans won it in 2016 by fewer than 11,000. It's the third largest swing state, and no Democrat has won the presidency without it since 1976. Michigan Democrats are feeling divided and dispirited, but Republicans seem all fired up for Trump. Even if Trump were to be convicted of a crime, the WLNS poll says the best Biden can manage is a tie. Womp womp. Trump, 44%, Biden, 44%, and 12% undecided. Yee. The good news for Biden and the Democrats is that Michigan Republicans are kind of a disaster, riven by bitter divisions and sectarian strife. They're even holding competing conventions this year, not a super look. Nor do we know what percentage of those undecided voters will come home for Biden. But we don't have to wait until November to find out how Biden will do with his own party. On Tuesday, Biden will face Democratic voters in the state's primary. Certainly, he's in no danger of losing to pro-Israel, proudly Jewish, moderate challenger, Congressman Dean Phillips of Minnesota, his last remaining opponent. But he will face a blank space. Michigan allows primary voters to choose the option of uncommitted. And anti-war and anti-Israel activists are leading an intense effort to get voters to the polls to choose none of the above. Organizers say that they want to get 10% for undecided and send Biden a message and encourage him to get tough on Israel. That wouldn't be a huge problem for the incumbent, and polls show him getting something like 75% of the vote. Good enough, but what if it's less? Amid so many doubts on the Democratic side about Biden's fitness for the campaign trail, if he were to be held under, say, 60%, that would be hell on his electability argument and open up new pressure for him to drop out. A few months ago, it seemed obvious that Biden couldn't really be the Democratic nominee. But just as obvious was that nobody could beat him. But now, nobody is on the ballot. and that could be the toughest adversary he's had yet.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.